Ford's
Ford is
great.
shit.
All right, I'll give you that. Like
These high displacement engines that should be putting out a lot of power that don't.
All right, I'll give you that they don't put out as much horsepower as they should.
Look at the Coyote engine versus the LS engine.
Yeah, you're totally right there.
There's like 100 cubic inch difference in the LS engine shits on the Coyote.
Yeah, no kidding there. I'll give you that, especially because the Camaro ZL1 that's coming out gives 650.
Yes.
Why are you recording, dude?
Because I just wanted to have recorded that Mustangs are gays. Hey, this is the brand new podcast, Double Milk. This is one of your hosts, Santi speaking, here with Jim and
What's
Spencer.
up?
What's up?
And we're gonna talk, argue into why Mustangs, or actually whether Mustangs are gay or not.
And they're not?
Not at all.
Well, I beg to differ.
Well, first off, let's start with the fact that you're outnumbered here, Santi. You're outnumbered 2-1 that Mustangs are sick-ass cars.
Okay.
So why do you think they're gay?
Because they're too accessible to people, because they're the cheapest of the muscle cars, and they're the ones that you see on YouTube and whatever wrecking shit because the driver doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, because obviously his parents just bought him an expensive ass car.
So does that make the Mustangs gay or the drivers?
Yeah, the Mustang.
How so? Because people don't know how to handle them?
Okay, no. The new Mustang. Because I would like to add that I do find the 60s Mustangs really fucking sexy.
Okay, but what I want to know is, you say that they're the cheapest and the most accessible, but that's because they're offered in a lot of packages. But for the sake of this, I'm going to say that we're arguing the top end. So we're arguing the 5-liter Mustang, and you're still saying it's gay?
Yeah.
With the big
5.0 Coyote.
Yeah. How much?
How much? A brand new Mustang like that, you probably get one for like $36,000.
That's cheap.
That's
for what that is, and for what you're giving the buyer.
It's not that cheap when you can buy an RT Challenger for around the same price. And I'm not sure about Camaros because I don't look at Camaros too often, but I'm pretty sure you can buy them for around the same price.
Okay, so those Challengers are gay as well.
God damn it,
dude! Challengers are gay.
Okay, yeah, they're not. Challengers
are sexy.
Okay, they just, you know what? I'm also
and you can get a Scat Pack for not too much money.
So what I'm hearing is it's not the car that you think is gay, it's the fact that it's cheap. You think that cars that go fast should be more expensive.
No, I mean...
And that goes against everything the Mustang stands for.
What?
The Mustang is a cheap performance car. It's like the same way that a Corvette is a cheap sports car.
So it's just like a cheap hoe. A cheap gay hoe.
Oh my god. Alright, so, but what I'm getting at is...
It's the drivers. It's the drivers. Definitely. I just blame
So are all Mustang drivers gay?
Yeah. that part.
So if Clint Eastwood drove a Mustang, would he be gay?
He'd be the manliest gay guy in the universe.
If Max Cavalera drove a Mustang, would he be gay?
What does being gay have to do with manliness?
No, I'm going to get you here, Santi. If Gary Holt drove a Mustang, would he be gay?
I'd have to say that he'd be gay for me because obviously something happened there.
No.
But you're saying being gay is a bad thing. It's you can't be manly
not
to be gay.
a bad thing, but it's kind of stereotypical that all women are bad drivers, even though that's not necessarily true. All gay guys are gonna get a Mustang and wreck shit, which is not necessarily true. Which is not necessarily true because some gay guys actually drive Mustangs properly and don't wreck shit.
But you just said they do. They crash.
No, I said stereotypically. You say stereotypically girls, not you, but people say stereotypically girls can't drive, can't park, but doesn't apply to all girls, obviously. Just it doesn't apply to all gay guys that have Mustangs.
But you just said that all Mustang drivers are gay.
Yeah. I'm just saying that not all gay Mustang drivers are shitty drivers.
What makes them so gay, though?
That they bought a Mustang. If you buy a Mustang, you instantaneously come out of the closet.
So what I want to know is, what makes a Mustang driver different from somebody who's driving a Challenger? Why is it specifically with Mustang drivers that is so bad?
Because you can easily just spin out a Challenger or a Camaro.
Not as easily. Because
That's
the
true, they have better
framework is
axles.
all different,
But
and the dimensions.
the brand new 2015 Mustang has independent rear suspension. It's just as good as a Camaro or a Challenger.
I mean, I don't know about that. But I guess I'm just arguing into the brand because it's true that some Challengers are cheap and not everything fits into the stereotype. But like, you know,
V6 Challengers.
you don't see a bunch of videos on YouTube about people like crushing their Challengers the same way you see like Mustangs, because that's viral.
Do you see that because that's what you look up? Like, do you look up
No,
videos?
I
of
just
people?
like come across that. I never ever looked stuff like that up, but every time I come across it in some compilations or whatever, it's always a Mustang, and it's not the '60s Mustangs, it's the new Mustangs,
Well,
and it's
because
usually
the '60s Mustangs have like 200 horsepower.
yeah, but
You're
like
not gonna spin out one of those.
also the same person that buys that Mustang is not gonna buy a '60s Mustang because they don't have enough money for that.
It's true. Granted, you can buy a '60s Mustang cheaper than a new Mustang.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking more about like let's
If
say
you get a fully restored one, yeah.
2015 Mustang, 14, like not high top, but still like a high performance car.
A newer Mustang is pretty expensive. Not a 2014,
Wait.
but a 2015 and newer Mustang.
Okay.
The used ones go for like $30,000.
I can't say what starting MSRP is, but I know that I've gone to Ford's website and like made my own. You know, they have those things on the sites you can make your own car, and my personal 5-liter Ford Mustang came out to like $40,000 ish. It was in the neighborhood of $40,000. I remember it was slightly cheaper than the Subaru STI that I made. So,
I mean, it's the brand, it's the drivers, but it's mostly the drivers because somebody that's driving a '60s Mustang is not gonna be driving like a teenager.
Right.
Somebody that drives a newer Mustang, maybe not the newest one because those are more expensive, but somebody that their parents bought them a Mustang is gonna ride like a dumbass, and he's not gonna get a '60s Mustang because like that's not what he wants. That's
but are you saying that those same people who could afford a Mustang, because the price is in the similar neighborhood, that they couldn't also afford a Challenger or a Camaro and do the same shit? Or different kinds of people buy Challengers, buy Challengers or Camaros?
they could.
Yeah, I think it does. They attract different types of people. I noticed some people a little bit older like the Challengers.
And people who like Transformers like the Camaro.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. Obviously, I have nothing against like the gay population or nothing like that. I'm not trying to say that being gay is a bad thing by what I'm saying about the Mustangs, but like what you said about the certain population, I do feel like you can judge somebody by their car. You know, especially when you can buy high top shit, like high performance, whatever. So like usually, I think new Mustangs market their stuff specifically for gay guys. So gay guys get Mustangs.
I don't see it at all. I see that they market it to Americans, just average Americans that want a V8.
Yeah,
I think they do that with the Camaro and the Challenger too. It's just they're classic American cars that are in their modern times now, and I think that's what they're marketed for. I don't think that anything is marketed to any specific group other than people who want raw power, because that's what those cars are made for. And that's kind of why I think that like people who are spinning them out because they're idiots, well, that doesn't make them not idiots. I think that they're doing what the car is meant to be done, which is using the power that the car has.
They just don't know how to handle it.
Exactly. Or they're too much of a fucking idiot to realize that that's a pricey car and you shouldn't be doing that if you don't know what you're doing. In related news, the Camaro coming out has a 10-speed automatic transmission. And that's pretty fucking sick, if you ask me.
Is it?
10-speed. Think about how you get you get your maximum horsepower output at the top of each gear. That means that you can get it 10 times when shifting up instead of 6 times in the manual. And although the manual you'd have more control over the car, you get the maximum output of horsepower 10 times as compared to 6 times if you buy the 10-speed automatic version.
I hope it's a good transmission.
I hope it's a good transmission too. I know that Ford has a similar transmission in the EcoBoost F-150 that's coming out. In the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, because I think Ford, there's another EcoBoost, I think it's a 2.7 liter that's going into the F-150s. That one won't have the 10-speed automatic, but the 3.5 liter EcoBoost will have the 10-speed, and don't quote me on those numbers because I don't know if those are the right liter sizes. But
If we're talking about trucks with 2.7 liter engines,
yeah, that's bitchy.
fucking stupid.
That's pretty bitchy. Yeah.
Granted, they twin turbo that shit, and
Yeah.
I
Again,
mean,
don't quote me
fast.
on those numbers. Those might not be the right numbers, but
That's a tiny engine for a F-150. I don't know.
It might have been like a 4.3 liter and then like a 3.5 or something. I don't remember. Because the Mustang EcoBoost is like a 2.4 or 2.7, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, the point is that 10-speed automatics are going to become a thing. And I also read an article about how Honda just patented an 11-speed triple clutch transmission
What?
for efficiency. I guess it's going to have like super quick shifts and 11 gears.
Fiat and Chrysler has a 9-speed transmission right now, and it's probably the worst thing I've ever driven.
Really?
It's so shitty, dude.
Why
It's
is
gotten a lot better in the 2000. Like the Jeep Cherokees have the 9-speed transmission, and the 2017 year model ones drive pretty nice. They drive pretty smooth, but the 2014 and 15s, they're really jerky when they shift, and putting them into reverse and backing them up sucks because they roll forward first and then they go into reverse. It's just, I don't know. They're
really
really
a manual, maybe.
yeah. They're just really like it, and it is. It's a manual that I read something on the Fiat had. Your car has a European 9-speed manual transmission in it, and it was talking about what it's like, and it's basically a manual transmission that shifts automatically. I mean, I guess all automatic transmissions are kind of like that, but they specifically said it's like your car shifting with a manual transmission, just it does it automatically. And it's just I don't know, it's I hate driving those things.
So it's just kind of like a shifter with the technology of the paddle shifts, right? Like you're shifting, but it's really the computer that's shifting.
You don't shift, you just put it into drive and it does it itself.
Yeah, it's an automatic
It's an
transmission.
automatic.
With the feel of a manual.
And you can feel it. It's jerky and it's unexpected and it's rough and I don't like it.
But does it have like a transmission or does it have a clutch?
Well, of
It's
course
it's like it's like driving my Focus. It's like that. It's just like a normal automatic car.
just put it in a drive.
But the way that it shifts so abruptly and just it's not nice to drive.
Like I feel like, I mean, I don't know what he's talking about because I haven't driven it, but from what I imagine, it feels like if you were driving a manual with a person who just learned how to drive a manual.
It's not
jerky
that
and-
bad, but it's not like Nissa driving a manual for the first time bad. But it's I don't know. It's not fun. The 2017 they fixed it. It still rolls forward a little bit when you put it in reverse, but it drives pretty smooth, and I like driving them. Don't like looking at them. They're butt ugly.
The
What
car
the
itself?
fuck it up? Like, why does Jeep make these ugly ass cars?
I don't fucking get
It's
it, dude.
probably one of the ugliest cars I've ever seen. It's got a big like overbite, and it's got these stupid headlights that are really skinny, and it's just looks like it's got buck teeth. It's so stupid. Jeep makes some shitty cars.
What was that thing that you put that car picture in the group chat? What did it say about Jeep? I'm trying to load it right now. It said, Jeep, are we even American anymore?
They're Italian.
Yeah.
The
Pretty
Jeep
fucking
Renegade
Italian.
straight up says "Made in Italy" on the VIN. It's a Fiat.
Really?
It's a Fiat. It's a Fiat. Is it the Fiat XL? I forget what the Fiats are called because I don't give a shit. It's the 500X. I think it's the 500 XL.
Is Jeep their own thing or are they owned by somebody?
They're owned by the Fiat Chrysler Corporation.
Oh, okay.
So they all use the same parts and stuff. And I don't know, it's a Fiat. It's got the 2.4 liter multi-air turbocharged engine. It sounds like a Fiat, drives like a Fiat. And they're colorful and they say 4x4, but they're really just all-wheel drive and they're stupid. The Jeep Patriot, stupid. It's a Dodge Caliber.
Yeah.
The Jeep Cherokee is stupid. Grand Cherokee is awesome. I want a Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
I like the Grand Cherokee a lot.
But is
They're
that because
big.
it's a luxury, or is it do you like
Because
the car
it's
itself?
luxury. Oh. I think it looks good. I know when I was up in Flagstaff, Matthew said it looked like a minivan or like a dad car.
Hell yeah.
And granted, like the the Limited and like the Laredos, they do just look like family haulers, and they are. But like when you get into the Overlands and the Summits and the new Trailhawk, which is pretty cool. It's got air suspension and it's got tow hooks, and it's for off roading. I can't imagine it being too good, but it looks pretty good, and I like them a lot. I think they look cool, and they are pretty luxurious.
Right. What are the Wranglers like? Are they like luxurious on the inside?
Nope. They haven't changed the Wrangler since 2007, other than
Damn.
like the steering wheel and the gear shifter. But it's a Wrangler.
Yeah.
I like driving Wranglers. I like the way you can put your arm out of it. It's just
4-door or 2-door?
I like the 2-door.
Smaller?
Personally, the way they look. Yeah.
Okay.
We had at my dealership that I work at, we had this lifted 2-door Wrangler. It was red, and they had the canvas top, and it was kind of like notched. It wasn't a total square. It was like notched. It looked pretty cool. It had these really big tires on it, and a really nice bumper and winch, and this antenna for the CB radio and
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
It just looked like a fucking romp through the desert kind of thing. It was nice. It was a cool Rubicon.
Hell yeah. Oh, god damn.
I have a question.
Of course.
I think Spencer might have the answer. What were the 3 main companies that own everything?
In America?
In general. Well, I mean, yeah, just in America then.
It's Ford, Chrysler, and GM. Those are the big 3.
In America?
In America, yeah.
I mean, they
what
own
about-
foreign brands too, because like Chrysler owns Fiat, and Ford owns some overseas brands as well, and GM owns. There's a lot of
Like Holden and stuff.
yeah, Holden, which is Australian, and there's a couple Chinese brands that they own as well. So I mean, they're all multinational, but
the 3 car companies in America, it's Ford, GM, and Chrysler.
Do you know any worldwide?
Like Volkswagen, they
Yeah.
have a lot. Toyota,
Toyota owns a
I
lot?
think Subaru.
What does
I'm not sure.
What does Toyota own?
Toyota? What does Toyota own?
I know that they own Scion.
Do they own Scion? I thought Scion was American.
Scion's?
I thought Scion was GM.
I honestly like from what I know that it's Toyota, but I'm don't
Scions
quote
were
me on
built
that
in
because
America.
That doesn't surprise me.
For
Toyotas
I think
are also
Scions-
built in America, so
That's true. But I know Scions were like an American only thing.
okay. But I'm fairly certain that they're owned by Toyota, but I could be wrong on that.
No, Scion, yeah, they do own Scion. Never
because
mind.
like Toyota.
I'm thinking about Saturn.
Saturn, yeah,
Yeah.
Saturn was GM.
Mhm.
Because all their cars are shitty knockoffs of
Yeah.
Chevys, and it's really fucking funny. But yeah, I don't know. Toyota's got to have my vote for like an overseas brand.
I just
from sheer reliability, like
yeah,
the Corolla is like one of the most, or if not the most popular car.
I think
Of
it's
all
the
time.
number 1 car of all
I
time,
think it is. And
followed by the Beetle, or maybe it's the Golf now.
I think it was. Yeah, I think second was the Golf.
Fuck yeah.
I think the second was either the Golf or the F-150, and then the third was the other one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I mean, and then there's Golfs. And then there's the fact that we have engines, Volkswagen's making engines that are incredibly efficient, and we can't have them in America.
Yeah. Like 100 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. And we can't have them in America because they don't follow emissions patterns. Engines that get like 80 or 100 miles per gallon, and I've heard that Volkswagen even makes an engine that runs on water.
Yeah.
Fucking water. Like in that 70s show when Hyde's like, there's a car that runs on water, man. It's real, and we can't have it in America.
And it's a Volkswagen?
It's a Volkswagen, and it's real, and it cannot be sold in America.
Because of emissions.
Well, I wanted to bring something up, but that's why I brought up the main companies that own everything. Because, like, obviously that means that, like, they have the power to delay us or fast forward us into, wherever technology's at.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though, like, we have the best technology, like, say, in the military or whatever, or that's what they tell us, but we don't really know, our civilization technology is pretty far behind, European and even, some Asian countries that are, like, far developed into that stuff. And, it goes with car companies because, like, they own a lot of shit. And, like, engines kind of make the world move, like, that's how we transport our shit, and that's, the heart of a lot of stuff. But also with the energy systems, because, like I told you before, Germany did a really good job with their energy stuff, and nobody pays for energy. They sort of get paid to get energy because, whatever. But over here, because like our companies have so much power over everything and everything's monopolized for those companies, they delay us. So like our cars could be like way better, you know.
I don't know about
We
that
just
because
don't
we're
have
on
access to
par
it.
with the rest of the world in terms of car companies.
I mean,
In fact, we're probably. I mean, our cars are fantastic. A lot of our nicer cars.
the cars are like good, but they're not like. I mean, how many people? How popular is this car that runs on water? And
I don't think they even sell it in Europe.
So
I think a lot of the companies monopolize like the oil companies and stuff.
right,
They don't want that car, and the government doesn't want that car because it's
it's bad for
gonna
their
save it.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of. I mean, my dad's truck gets 21 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
It's a big 5.7 Hemi lifted truck, and it gets pretty good gas mileage for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not held back too much.
I mean, but we are though, because
I mean,
like,
we
like,
are
I mean,
from the companies,
we're
but so
trying-
is the rest of the world.
Yeah.
In
But
a
at the
sense-
same time, we're working less on it. We're working less on like solving stuff because like we're just working on making cars better to work on fuel. When everybody knows that fuel is not a renewable resource and we're gonna run out at some point.
That's one thing that I got to give to the countries over in Europe is that a lot of their cars, their small cars, are 3-cylinder versions. Like they have 3-cylinder versions of a lot of cars that we have over here as 4 and 6-cylinder versions, just because it's more efficient. And part of that's because cities in Europe are so much smaller in the sense that like it's all more compact, so they can do that kind of shit, and we can't here because everything's kind of bigger. But I do want to point that out because I kind of get what you're saying, that in Europe things seem to be more focused on being efficient because they have smaller cars with smaller engines and they focus a lot on efficiency, and that seems to not happen as much here because of whether that's got anything to do with corrupt oil companies.
I mean,
I don't know if it's
enforcing
corrupt oil
legislation.
companies because going up to Flagstaff, the speed limit is 75 miles an hour up a mountain. A car like that's not going to be able to do 75
Of course
miles
not.
an hour.
Which is what I mean by like
That's
the cities
why
are
we
more
have-
compact.
That's why America's always been big on having V8s.
Exactly.
Because we need power.
Yeah.
We need to move because we're so spread out and we go so fast.
Yeah.
And everything's so compact there, which is what I mean is
Yeah.
when everything's smaller there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It's not purely to be more efficient, but for a lot of places in America, like that's how it is here in Phoenix. I can understand that, but in places like New York and Los Angeles and big cities like that, they could totally be using 3-cylinder engines, 2-cylinder engines, and they're not. And not to say that that's like necessarily a bad thing. It's something that it could be happening and it's not.
Yeah.
I think we're delayed even in that aspect of like wanting bigger and better engines because like even though like before we needed bigger engines because engines were far behind in technology, but nowadays we have turbos, superchargers, fuel injection, and like really we can make a 3-cylinder car go 100 and some miles an hour, and that's good enough for the highways over here.
The problem is again going up a mountain.
Well, you have that too, but again with
My
this,
Ford
with this,
Focus
with this,
struggles going to Flagstaff.
But your Ford Focus doesn't have a charger, a
That's
supercharger or a
true.
turbo. Like
But
we have these inventions that like
I know.
like we don't need those muscle cars anymore. They're beautiful. Well, they were. They're not
You never
anymore.
needed muscle cars in the first place.
Before
Muscle,
you did.
No, we didn't.
Because going up a mountain without having
Muscle
superchargers and
cars?
stuff.
Were never a necessity.
Muscle cars are purely for fun because if you think about it, like when you look back on really old cars like in the 40s and 50s, those all have really big engines too, and they could get up those.
The
those
point
hills
of
and
muscle
stuff, no
cars
problem.
is for fun. Muscle car is, I mean, they seem big now, but at the time they were small cars with the same big engines that you would put in a big car, and therefore it made it into a race car. Muscle cars have always been about getting as much power as possible out of it in a small car.
Yeah.
Not that they're small anymore because they're pretty big, but they're still coupes. You don't. You
Back
can't
then
put-
they were pretty small. I mean,
Yeah.
compared to the cars that
Exactly.
everybody was driving.
And you know what? I saw a Mustang the other day, and they are pretty small. They're not too much bigger than my Focus.
No,
And-
the Mustangs are like this.
And new Mustangs and new Camaros and new Challengers have back seats and stuff, but you can't really fit a normal sized person in the back seat. They're coupes. They're still kind of small. They just got big hoods because they got big V8s. But people like horsepower. People
Right.
want the fact that the Hellcat exists doesn't need to exist. There's no reason the Hellcat exists other than the fact to say that the Challenger is the world's fastest muscle car because it's got 707 horsepower.
Yeah.
That doesn't need muscle cars exist for the fact that, for being muscle cars. And you know what? Like, you know, people like their fuel economy and their electric cars and their, you know, stuff like that to be more efficient. But some people, including myself, don't necessarily care about that, and they just want to have fun. Some people, like I know Jim wants electric cars and you know, fuel efficient cars so he can get to school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care about that. It's not for everyone, and a lot of Americans are like that. So I don't think the demand for. I mean, I'm not sure because I haven't asked every American, but I'm sure the demand for more fuel efficient cars isn't a main priority. Nothing like it is in Europe.
Let me interrupt real quick and say that the reason that I want fuel-efficient cars and electric cars is mostly for global warming. Side note, we're not going to get into global warming here, but I just want to say that that's the reason why. Like, getting to school efficiently is great, but putting a stop or at least slowing down global warming is really the issue that I think people should be driving electric cars because there's no reason to have everybody driving insanely polluting cars when there could be electric cars. But global warming's a side issue. We can talk about this some other time. We're on cars
Actually,
right
no. Let me put up two arguments to both of the things that you guys said because first of all, what you said about like global warming and stuff like that, it's not really a factor that gets affected by newer cars because the car companies know that fuel is not a renewable resource. They're making it last the longest that they can. So like these new cars are really good about not putting out a lot of gases.
Right.
So like
It's
the problem is
getting
not in the gases. Like what I've said before is that the problem is in the okay. So I think an electrical car will pollute more the environment than the newer you know, regular engine cars because the electric cars are getting their power from power plants that are powered by coal, and coal pollutes the environment with CO2. So like
I agree with
you know,
you.
and also the batteries that they have in their car, they're not like it's not something you can just like throw out and recycle. Like there's a specific way of you know dealing with them because if you just throw them away, they're you know
Polluting and radiating stuff.
yeah.
Let me also say that on the note of coal-based power plants, I also think that we should eliminate coal-based power plants and we should power the entire state of Arizona off of solar power because there's no reason we can't. But that's I get what you're saying is that you're right because coal power plants do a lot more damage than cars, and you're also right about modern cars putting less emissions out because they are trying to make that better. But it kind of goes back to what we were saying about those Volkswagen engines that can get 80 or 100 miles per gallon. Is that we can have it be even more efficient than it is, but they won't allow it in America.
Right. And that was the other thing that I was gonna bring up. You know, going back to the muscle cars and you know our culture wanting to have things you know bigger and stronger just for fun, like we've said. But I want to say that it kind of like deals with this sort of market that the country's into, and obviously this country's main market is war, so they invest a lot into their jeeps, into the stuff that they can you know they can ride overseas and like be like hella convenient and then also be hella American, have that like muscle power and all that shit. Whereas like other countries are more concerned with this you know greenhouse effects and you know so they make their even though you know they don't have the size that we do so they also have that but like they kind of want more efficiency out of their stuff but it bleeds into the culture because our market bleeds into our culture like our market demands for badass cars so our culture wants like yo I want my hot rats and I want my you know Challengers whatever whereas you know their culture is into like some more market their culture might be getting out of a fucking debt from a war you know so.
And I also want to point out that Europeans totally love fast cars too because Formula One is a giant thing over there, and obviously Top Gear is a huge show. Like, but I get what you're saying that they have a lot of focus on making smaller cars.
Yeah.
And going back to what Spencer said too, I think that's because they can afford it more because everything's so compact for them. Not saying that people in Europe don't ever travel far, but that it's so much more efficient for them to have a small car. So here in Phoenix, having a small car is really what you want. I mean, you kind of like bigger cars better, you know, because they have more power and you can get places quicker in them because things are so spread out. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. But, you know, I don't know. I think that one thing, you know, that related to cars that I should bring up right now is the fact that all of Tesla's patents, I shouldn't say patents, all of Tesla's, like, I don't know what word to use, blueprints, all of their models for their cars are available for free for anybody. You don't have, you can make your own Tesla without having to pay Tesla because you made your own copy.
They
of the
pulled a
car.
Volvo.
Yeah. You can, all of Tesla's, maybe patents is the right word. I don't want to say patents because, like, basically you don't have to license it. Any car company, Ford, Chevy, anything, can make Teslas, exact copies of Teslas, and they don't have to pay Tesla anything for it because it's all available for free. Which is, I don't know, I think it's cool because that sticks to Nikola Tesla's kind of thing that it should be free for everybody. And I like that they do that, but it also just goes to show you that car companies out there, Chevy and Ford, could be making so much money by making exact copies of Teslas, but they're choosing not to. And that's
You
kind of
don't know
thing,
that.
so it's free. They're choosing not to do it.
They could be in development right now.
You're right. They could be. I could be totally wrong. But we'll see what happens. You know what I mean?
You know what they do with cars is it takes so much money to like research and develop a car.
Yeah, you're right.
And they release the car, and the reason like the Wrangler hasn't changed since for like 10 years is because they're making so much money off of an old design that they haven't researched and developed anything for years, and they're still making money off their cars. So why
Yeah, of course.
put a bunch of research and development and making new factories and redeveloping things for something that might not sell because, I mean, Teslas are expensive. When their Fiestas and Focuses sell.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can totally agree with you there. The thing that I just want to bring is that if people are that genuinely concerned about, you know, fuel efficient cars and, you know, basically what I want to get is the fact that if the car companies aren't in bed with the gas companies, we would have tons of options for electric cars that are actually good cars. Because, you know, the Nissan Leaf is pretty popular, but it's a complete shit car.
Yeah.
84 miles per charge, that's fucking ridiculous when you can get a Tesla that gets almost 300 miles per charge. It's fucking ridiculous that that's even considered an option, 84 miles per charge. You can't even make it to Flagstaff. You can make it halfway to Flagstaff, and then you got to stop
for a
and
couple
charge
hours.
for 10 hours.
10 hours
Not
for a
even-
full charge?
10 hours for a full charge, especially. And then when you look at Teslas, again, full charge in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can go all the way to Flagstaff
And back.
and then only charge your car for 90 minutes if you have a supercharger.
And then do it again.
Exactly, and then do it again. Which is, I don't know, it just goes to show you that I think Tesla's really onto something, and it's all available for free, and I think that at this point, we cannot say that the other companies are even considering doing anything.
Have you seen the new P100?
No, I haven't.
No?
No, I didn't
He's
even
a
know there was a
fucking beast.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking gamped a Hellcat by like 3 seconds.
Really?
Dude. Yeah,
I gotta check that out, because I've only seen the P90.
the P100.
I gotta check that out. I'll definitely check that out soon. But I don't know, I just think that when it's available for free online, maybe not online, but you know what I mean, if it's available for free, then I think that if that was a legitimate concern that companies had, was making something efficient, then they would be on that already. And, you know, maybe not make exact copies of Teslas, but do their own tweaking on it to make it look like a Chevy or a Ford or a Dodge or whatever.
If Tesla's, they're releasing the Model X or whatever, right? That's the cheap one.
Model X, I think, is the crossover. I think the new one is
The Model Y?
3. I think
Whatever
that's
the
what it's
cheap
called.
one is, if that sells well, other companies will probably do it.
Maybe.
I don't know how well the Tesla numbers are when it comes to sales, but they are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So, like,
That's why I like this new one's coming out, because starting MSRP right now is $35,000, which is like I would say average for a car.
yeah.
I mean, you can totally get, like, you know, Imprezas for cheaper, but, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But, like, if they sell well, then other companies will probably start, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
catching on. It's you know, Teslas I don't think sell terribly well. I mean,
No, but
they
it's
sell good enough, but, like...
Exactly. Like you say, it's a business meeting car. You have to be rich to buy one, especially when you consider, I think the Model X, which is that crossover, I think starts at like
I don't know
$70,000 or
about you
$80,000.
But I see at least 3 Teslas every day at work.
Really?
Yeah. I work
Shit.
in Phoenix.
I mean, I can see that though, especially, I mean, like out here, people don't drive Teslas, but that's because people out here are.
I mean, I work in
You get that.
Scottsdale, and I see, like, bunch of Teslas,
I see
but I
Teslas
just never see them.
Everywhere.
I feel that.
Everywhere in Phoenix.
And that's with them costing, you know, like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. When they released the Model X, not Model X, sorry, I think it's called the Model 3, and that's $35,000. I think we're going to be seeing them everywhere, like all the time.
Where are Tesla dealerships?
I honestly
Where
don't
do you
know.
buy
if-
Teslas?
I think you buy
Where
them
do they
online.
come from?
I think you go online and you buy
Probably
it.
buy them online.
I
Really?
think you buy it online and I think they bring it to you. I don't know, but that sounds like what it would be. I think you go online and you buy it and they bring it to you.
Well,
I don't know if I want that. I mean, I don't like dealerships because
Right.
I don't. But like, being able to test drive a car before you buy it.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly a thing because they're at this point they're so small. You know what I mean? Like we say we see tons of Teslas, but you know, think about how many Fords we see for every Tesla we see.
Yeah,
but if
that's
Tesla gets big, they might open dealerships. You know, maybe.
I mean, the
I
thing
would
is that
expect
the
that
whole electric car movement is still sort of like premature.
Exactly.
To whatever, like the whole history of engines
Exactly.
and stuff. And that's why we're so hard-headed about like going one way or another, is because like we're still sort of getting used to this idea that these cars really are better than the ones that use
Exactly.
fuel.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a movement really.
Hell yeah.
And I also want to bring out that it's a CEO or you know one of the top dogs for Tesla is very involved into solar energy.
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Elon Musk. And
Doesn't he own Solar City or Solar?
Sun Solar.
Sun Solar. Okay.
Yeah. But really, it's just kind of like a work in progress, really. Like
Yeah,
you said,
I
we
agree.
don't see these cars as often as we do any other cars, just because like, first of all, the technology is not all the way there. We need to do something about batteries because you know batteries have a certain life and they pollute, so they're not really as you know environmentally friendly as they say. You know, there is a lot of flaws to this car.
Yeah, of course.
But like, it's still a movement.
Exactly.
Because it's in efforts of like you know changing shit.
Exactly, and I think that once it starts to catch on more, and I think that once other things start to catch on to go along with that, like for example converting to solar energy instead of using like coal-powered electrical plants and things like that, I think it'll change a lot of stuff because we won't have. Because you're right when you say that electric cars do pollute in the sense that they take electric power. So I think that when other things start to change with electric power as well, I think that we'll see a legitimate movement in terms of you know saving the environment and things like that.
Yeah.
More wax.
What's? Yeah, what's?
Yeah, I'd get more.
Nice.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I gotta take a mean piss. So.
Same.
Should I put this on hold?
Bathroom's right there.
Hell yeah.
I shall just keep on recording in case we say something funny.
I'm also gotta dip soon, so I don't know if you want to draw us to close or what, but I'm gonna have to dip.
Well, then I'll stop it from here, and then we'll still gonna edit it.
Yeah, I do need a ride home if you can drive. If you can't.
Oh man, I'm so fucked up right now. I don't know if
I mean,
can
like,
drive you
I'm
home.
just gonna make sure that
You're just gonna have to stay here and
All right, that sounds good.
cuddle with me.
That sounds cute.
It's so cute. All right, so I guess we should end this podcast.
All right, well, I mean, we're about the 20-minute mark anyway, so I think this has been pretty good.
That's only been 20 minutes?
Yeah, we're about to be 1,200 seconds, which is 20 minutes.
That seemed a lot longer than it was. I have allergies.
Well, I mean, good luck with that.
I'm gonna play us off.
Play a song.
I never fucked Wayne. I never fucked Drake. All my life for fuck's sake. Eat my ass like a cupcake. Ass and cupcakes.
That was beautiful, Spencer.
Thank you.
This is Jim signing off.
Eat my ass like a cupcake. Fuck off.
Join us for next podcast where we talk about eating ass. Bye bye.